There's a little bit of friendly rivalry between ourselves and our mates over at GMPN. Basically, we realise that they are absolutely amazing at riding bikes, so we have to make ourselves feel a little bit better with the knowledge that what we do is tougher.
Yeah, well, roadies are just basically fitter, aren't they? Can you imagine a mountain biker winning something like the Tour de France, for example?
There was Cadel Evans actually in 2011.
Yeah, that is a good point. Well, that's an exception.
Yeah.
But can you imagine if a road rider turned up at a mountain bike race, they'd absolutely smash it.
Peter Sagan actually just only finished 35th at the Olympic mountain bike race last year.
He did puncture 3 times though, Si. Come on, give him a chance.
He punctured, yeah, he did. He punctured 3 times. We figured then that we'd probably actually better try and put this one to the test.
Yeah, but what a place to do it, here in the beautiful Dolomites in the Alta Badia region. Now we've got 2 rides planned, both of which are uploaded to our Wahoo Elements, and we're starting here on the climb of the Passo Campolongo, just outside Araba, having had a nice cappuccino.
Yeah, naturally.
Now, I've got a 35-kilometre route planned, okay? It's not too long, but it does take in the climb of the Pordoi and also the Fedea, finishing by the beautiful lake.
That's right. Now, I am doing less than half that distance. However, I'm going straight over that mountain. Probably not to the top, it looks a little inhospitable up there, but I do, of course, then have a belter of a descent on the other side.
Now, you can't really measure difficulty in kilometres.
No.
Maybe time.
Yeah?
So it's all going to be about power and heart rate, which we're going to measure on our Power to Max power meters and also our Wahoo tickers. What is harder? Off-road, or whatever you happen to be on right now, or tarmac? And while I'm at it, Si, you're on a mountain bike wearing Lycra. What is all that about?
It's allowed, mate. I get special dispensation.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Come on, Si! Keep up!
Now you might be wondering what any of this has got to do with GCN, other than potential bragging rights. But the fact is, road and off-road are getting kind of close together again. Admittedly, most of the stuff that the GMBN guys do is as far removed from tarmac as it's possible to get. But don't forget that many modern road bikes are becoming increasingly versatile with their disc brakes and clearance for big wide tyres. And actually, a lot of kind of adventure bikes use just straight up mountain bike wheels and tyres anyway to give proper off-road ability. So we thought you would genuinely want to know just how hard is riding off-road. And admittedly, we're putting this to the test on a 29er mountain bike, but as we found out recently over the cobbles of Paris-Roubaix, that doesn't make too much difference. I'll tell you what, I just feel like we're making some slow progress here. I better check actually to see where Matt is.
Now, the funny thing about saying which is harder will obviously depend, I think, on how hard you actually try, which on a road bike at least is where the beauty lies, because you can go as easy or as hard as you like. But don't worry, I realise this road rider's honour is at stake, so I'm going to go hard.
Oh my days, this is one tough climb. Pretty much just staying on the bike. It's got me at the limit, and you can see that the element is showing me that I've got to go up there, which looks even harder. Quite frankly, you can see how hard actually at a glance, because those lights on the side there are linked up to my power zones. Green is threshold, but this being off-road, I'm quite often having to kick up and see yellow and even red, and that is red at sea level, of course, and this isn't at sea level. We're at 2,409 meters. Defeat, 100 meters from the summit. Stupid artificial snow cannon.
Well, I'm nearly at the top of one climb with one climb to go, and I can tell you that the air is pretty thin up here, especially to someone like me who's pretty unaccustomed to the altitude. And just looking on here, the elevation so far, 2,058 meters, meaning I've got about another 160 meters of elevation gain to the top of the Pordoi. I'm nearly there. Okay, on to the second and final climb of the day, the Passo Fedea. Now, I've not ridden this one before, so I'm not too sure what to expect, but what I do know is that it's about 7.5 kilometers in length, average gradient of 7%, which is pretty tough by anyone's standards. So I'm just going to keep it in the blue, a nice controlled and steady effort, try to enjoy it as much as I can. Certainly looks beautiful.
Oh, leaving aside toughness for a minute. That is amazing. Can we see where we're going? Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's where we're going.
Finally, at the top of the Passo Fedea. Time for a coffee.
Now, I'll admit at the start of today, I had pretty much assumed that given that we were doing less than half the distance, that I would probably get to the finish first. But unfortunately, I can see from my live track that Matt is actually already there. On the positive side though, hopefully that will mean that he has actually got the round in. There is now going to be a problem though with our whole experiment, because in a few meters I'm probably not going to pedal again until I get to the finish line. So therefore we're not going to get any power data, but I am still going to be working hard, because although I don't have many muscles, what I do have are going to be hanging on for dear life, because riding off-road and riding down bumpy descents really takes it out of you. And although this is very much mountain biking, you could definitely get a road bike down here, but the principle remains the same even on gravel, and that is that vibrations really wear you out, which is why riding off-road can definitely be tougher than riding on. The harder the trail, the harder you work.
Si, your cappuccino's nearly cold. It's just about a bit.
I had hoped that you'd get me one in. Thanks, mate.
Look, you do look a bit worn actually, a bit worn out. Mate.
Yeah, that was quite hard.
Well, let's get to let's cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Let's see what data you've got.
Right.
I'm interested in what you've got there.
Okay, so I've been out for a little over 2 hours, and my average power is just 152 watts, which on paper for me is not very much at all. But I feel like I've worked an awful lot harder than that, if I'm completely honest. As you say, I look a bit tired. But has to be said, I've got a big grin on my face. That was good fun.
You look like you had a good time. I mean, my stats are very similar to yours. Power is quite low.
Yeah.
But when you drill down a bit further, I had 2 sustained blocks of climbing, obviously on both of the climbs there. And I was nudging zones 4 and 5 for about 30 minutes each. But then, of course, I've got the descents as well.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting, actually, is when you look at those graphs of your power data on climbs, it's quite a smooth effort, isn't it? Whereas when you contrast it with what I was having to do, making loads of repeated efforts well above threshold. So even though my average power isn't that much at all, in order to maintain momentum on that really steep gravel track, and dare I say through a couple of snowdrifts, I'm having to work really quite hard. But then I still don't think that power is telling the whole story. It's my upper body, dare I say, that's probably the most sore. And there's a lot of vibrations to absorb on that.
But ultimately, Si, what is harder? And I think, you know, in terms of kilometres, it has to be riding off-road. You've got that additional rolling resistance, so consequently, you don't go quite as fast or as far. But in terms of how hard it is per hour, I'm going to go back to my original point. I think it's as hard as you want to go.
I think you might be right, actually. I do think it is as hard as you want to go. However, I will say that riding off-road does work your body in a different way.
I would have to agree with that.
I think perhaps maybe I need to go to the gym, Matt.
Well, we've had our say, but what do you think? What's harder, off-road or road?
Yeah, get involved in the comments section down below. Before getting truly stuck in though, do make sure you have subscribed to GCN. It's very quick. Just click on the globe, and then if you're after some more content, well, why not see just how Matt managed to show the GMBN boys just how to ride a mountain bike using all 6 months of your pro career experience. That one is just down there.
You don't have to tell them all that. Or you could click just down here for how to ride a road bike on gravel. Yeah. That was an experience, wasn't it?
Riding road, off-road.
Oh yeah. Don't forget to like and share.